my top 10 players, I should say, top 10 players in the NFL, starting with number 10, the man who apparently takes ayahuasca, Aaron Rodgers. The back-to-back MVP, the 4-time MVP overall a season ago. He threw for 4,100 yards, 37 touchdowns, only 4 picks, had a completion percentage of 69%, and a passer rating of 112. Aaron Rodgers has historically been the king of passer ratings. If I'm not mistaken, he might have the highest of all time. Here's the thing with Aaron, and I've always said he is arguably the greatest thrower of the football that the sport has ever seen. I mean, you could honestly make that case in terms of how effortless he makes it look. He's got the arm, he's got the accuracy, he's got the ability to move in the pocket. Aaron Rodgers is as good as they come. Okay, there's a reason. I don't think he should have 4 MVPs, but he's absolutely deservedly so, a multi-time MVP in this league. My criticism of him has always been in the postseason. Since that Super Bowl after the 2010 season, he has a record of 7-9. Okay, and some of those losses, he has either played poorly or has been in games that he should have won and did not. Okay, so I get the how pretty he makes it look. Okay, he's absolutely, clearly one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league and has been for well over a decade. But if you're talking about a guy that I can trust to consistently get my team in position to compete for a championship, nah, I can't trust this dude. Aaron Rodgers is my 10th best player in the NFL. To number 9, the quarterback who led his team to the Super Bowl, improbably, Mr. Joe Burrow. He has thrown for a year ago. He threw for 4,600 yards, 34 touchdowns, 14 picks, had a completion percentage of 70%, and a passer rating of 103. What Joe Burrow pulled off a year ago, I cannot emphasize enough. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. We've seen quarterbacks like a Derrick Carr, for example, take a team that has so many holes and so many flaws, in the case of the Raiders, so much controversy, and get them to the playoffs. Maybe in some cases, like Andrew Luck, win a playoff game or 2. But what Joe Burrow did for the Cincinnati Bengals, a defense that was good, not great, a receiving group that outside of Jamar Chase is and an offensive line that, simply put, was maybe the worst in the league. And we know you have got to protect your quarterback. And to Cincinnati's credit, they have upgraded their line this offseason. Joe Burrow getting this team to the Super Bowl against an absolutely superior Los Angeles Rams team and having them in position to win the football game is incredible. It's incredible what this guy pulled off, okay? We know he's got the accuracy, the arm strength, it comes and it goes. That was one of my concerns about Joe Burrow coming out of LSU. His arm strength isn't maybe what you'd like it to be, but it's good enough. He's, again, moves well in the pocket. He's great. You watch that AFC Championship game and all those sacks that he broke. Okay, he's big, strong, powerful, excellent leader. The whole football team, he's the heartbeat of the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow is my 9th best player in the NFL. Number 8, sticking with the quarterbacks. We're 3 players in, and it's all quarterbacks. My man, Josh Allen. I told y'all Josh Allen will be the real deal coming out of Wyoming. 4,400 yards, 36 touchdowns, 15 picks, a completion percentage of 63%, and a 92 passer rating. The thing with Josh Allen that we all know about is the arm strength, okay? He's got about as great arm strength as we've ever seen at this position. Okay, this is a guy who could probably throw it 100 yards. Okay, and throw it on a rope. You look at some of these rollout plays. I know there was a play against the Raiders. I think it was in 2020 where he rolled out to his right and found Cole Beasley in the back of the end zone. I mean, just threw that ball on a rope. Okay, and just elite arm strength. Has improved his accuracy each year since he's come into the NFL. Has really surprised me a lot as a leader of the Buffalo Bills. And something else, too. A year ago, in 2021, he had the highest passer rating that any quarterback has ever had in a single postseason. Now, you could say, well, that was only 2 games. But in the win against New England, over what was a pretty solid New England defense, he basically threw a perfect game. 7 possessions, 7 touchdowns, with no punts, no field goals, and no turnovers. Josh Allen did that. Okay, Josh Allen has elevated the Buffalo Bills from an organization that was one of kind of the laughing stocks in the NFL to a franchise that right now, according to Vegas, is the favorite to play in Super Bowl 57 in Arizona. That's how great Josh Allen is. We know, just watch the game against Kansas City and Mahomes. He was the last reason, as we all know, that the Bills lost that playoff game. Josh Allen, to me, is the 8th best player in the NFL. To number 7, I feel like we've forgotten a little bit about this guy because he was hurt for half the season last year. Derrick Henry, King Henry. Now, he did not run for 1,000 yards last season, but that's because he played only 8 games because he broke his foot. Derrick Henry, again, a year ago, led the NFL in yards per game with 117 and also had 10 touchdowns in 8 games. So that means if he had stayed healthy, he would have not only had an opportunity, if you look at the numbers, do the math, he would have possibly had yet another 2,000-yard season, which he had a couple of years ago in 2020, but he would have ran for 20 touchdowns if the math adds up, okay? John kind of pointed out in the comments there about non-quarterbacks that are among the 10 most valuable players in the league. Derrick Henry's in that group. It's not a knock on Ryan Tannehill, good player, starter in this league, but once Derrick Henry went down, the Titans' offense didn't really look the same, okay? Their defense carried them to a lot of those wins, and when you talk about a guy who can, at the running back position, in an NFL where the running back is the least important that it's ever been, this guy is a consistent, just pencil it in. He's going to run for 100 yards and a touchdown a game. That's just what he does. Of course, we all remember the playoff run in 2019 where he pretty much ran the Titans to the AFC Championship game. This past year, he was on pace for another 2,000-yard season and 20 touchdowns. This guy is still, and I love Jonathan Taylor. You guys know that. Loved him since college. But Derrick Henry is still clearly the best running back in the NFL. Derrick Henry is my 7th best player overall in the NFL. To number 6, a guy who is on a new team, Devonta Adams. A year ago with the Packers, 123 catches, 1,500 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Now we know, obviously, Devonta, with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, that certainly helps a bit. But just these improvements since his rookie year in 2014 has been incredible. As great of a route runner as there is in the league, big-bodied, fast, great hands. Pretty anything that you could possibly want in a wide receiver, you've got Devonta Adams. And so now he comes to Vegas with his college buddy, Derek Carr. They had a great connection in college at Fresno State. I think Devonta Adams is once again due for another huge year. You can make a strong case he's the best receiver in the NFL, and I would not fight you on it at all. Okay, he's still as great as they come. He has stayed relatively healthy throughout the course of his career, so he's reliable. Devonta Adams, to me, is the 6th best player in the NFL. To number 5, we're in the top 5 now. The Defensive Player of the Year almost broke a record. TJ Watt, a big record, I should say. TJ Watt led the league in quarterback hits with 39 and in tackles for loss with 21, and he tied Michael Strahan's single-season sack record with 22.5 sacks. This guy is an absolute monster off the edge. As great as his brother J.J. Watt was in his prime, J.J. could not get around the edge as quickly as T.J. Watt could, or can. Talking about, big, strong, flies off the edge into the backfield. Again, 22.5 sacks, which is incredible considering the fact that the Steelers trailed in a lot of the games that they played in. And the fact that they, a lot of those teams were running the football, and he still was able to rack up the amount of sacks that he did, 22.5. I can't have a guy that ties an all-time sack record by Michael Strahan, and given the history that TJ Watt has had thus far in his career, and not put him in the top 5. TJ Watt, to me, is the 5th best player in the NFL. To number 4, my twin baby, the Super Bowl MVP, Cooper Kupp. The Triple Crown winner, 145 catches, 1,900 yards, and 16 touchdowns. Also was the Super Bowl MVP. He is the first player, the first receiver in NFL history. Second player in NFL history to win the Triple Crown and win receiving Triple Crown and win Super Bowl MVP. The only other guy to do that is the greatest receiver ever, Jerry Rice. Cooper Kupp did that in one season. And he got votes to be MVP, mind you. And so you talk about, he goes from 900 receiving yards in 2020 to 1,900 in 2021. Obviously, the addition of Matthew Stafford helped that drastically. But he's one of the few receivers, very, kind of like Devonta Adams. He's one of the few receivers that you can double, and it really doesn't matter. Okay, there's not much you can do to stop Cooper Kupp. You talk about, by the way, the attention that he brings on one side of the field, which clears the way for other Rams receivers to get their targets and their catches in. Again, great route runner, reliable hands. Not as fast maybe as a Devonta Adams, but in terms of reliability, in terms of consistency, each and every game that this dude plays, you can't really quantify what he's meant for the Los Angeles Rams, and obviously we all know they could not have won the Super Bowl without him. Cooper Kupp is my fourth best player in the NFL. To number 3, we're going back to the quarterbacks. Number 3, Patrick Mahomes. Again, the fact that people thought that this guy had a down year is if 4,800 yards, 37 touchdowns with 13 picks, a 66 for completion percentage, and a passer rating of 98.5, if that's a down year, man, I'd love to have a down year. Okay, we're talking about a guy, folks, who's won an MVP, who's won a Super Bowl MVP, who, again, in his first year as a starter, threw 50 touchdown passes, which has only ever been done by some guys you may have heard of before, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. And Patrick Mahomes did that in his first season. Year 2, wins the Super Bowl, wins Super Bowl MVP. Year 3, gets to the Super Bowl, loses to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in the big game. And a year ago, we all know he had a bad second half against the Cincinnati Bengals when the Chiefs blew that big lead for an opportunity to go to a third straight Super Bowl. But I'm really, really surprised. I get the losses Kansas City's had in the offseason. I think their defense is going to be significantly worse this year, but I'm shocked at the amount of people who have completely dismissed Kansas City in terms of being a Super Bowl contender. If you've got that guy behind center, you've always got a shot, okay? Andy Reid hasn't retired yet. Okay, you still have Travis Kelce. You added Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdez-Scantling to your receiving core. Mecole Hardman's still there. It's not like you're going downhill if you're the Kansas City Chiefs too much, despite the losses of Tyreek Hill and the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. Patrick Mahomes, a down year. 4,800 yards, 37 touchdowns, passer rating of nearly 100. Whew. Man, I'd love to have a down year. Look out for Patrick Mahomes to be right back in the MVP conversation this season. Patrick Mahomes is my third best player in the NFL. To number 2, he is my second best player in the NFL. We all know he's the greatest quarterback of all time. He is the greatest player, in my opinion, of all time. The man, the myth, the legend, Tom Brady. A year ago, you look at the numbers this guy put up. Again, a record season. 5,300 yards with 43 touchdowns, 12 picks, a completion percentage of 67, and a passer rating of 102. I thought Brady should have been the MVP, folks. At age 44. Had his career high in passing yards. Career high at age 44. Keep in mind, something about Tom Brady, which is remarkable. And I've read the stat off a few times of the show. He's thrown more touchdown passes in his 40s than he did in his 20s. Some of that, I will admit, is because the game has changed and the rules have changed in favor of the quarterback position. But no athlete in the history of American sports, be it team, be it individual, has aged better, has been more consistent, has been more great as this guy has consistently been. We all know 7 Super Bowl titles. He's got more Super Bowls than any NFL franchise has. He's looking for number 8. I believe that this will be his last season at age 45. He's always said he wanted to play to this age. This is it. His Jordan year 23. It's only fitting. 2 GOATs. Tom Brady, to me, is still the best quarterback in the NFL, and to me is the second best player in the NFL. And so you know who that leaves as number 1. Number 1, the best player in football, to me, without a shadow of a doubt, is Aaron Donald. The best player on the best team in the NFL. Aaron Donald's my number 1. You're talking about a guy who has been a 7-time first-team All-Pro since his second year in the league. He's been first-team All-Pro. Okay, so shoe it in this year, 2022. Thankfully, he did not retire. Not thankfully for quarterbacks and offensive linemen, but thankfully for us, the fans, and certainly for the Los Angeles Rams, he did not retire. He is coming back this season. You're talking about a guy who just a few years ago, we talk about T.J. Watt, almost broke Strahan's record. He tied Strahan's record for the most sacks in a single season. T.J. Watt did that as an edge rusher. Aaron Donald had 20 and a half sacks, so 2 fewer sacks. as an interior lineman, as an interior defensive lineman, okay? Just if you want me to explain to you how good Aaron Donald is, words don't do it justice. I can't. All I would tell you to do is watch the second half of this year's Super Bowl. It was as dominant a defensive performance in the Super Bowl as I've ever seen. And I've made the case to this show before. I think Aaron Donald's the third greatest defensive player of all time. I think it goes LT, great Lawrence Taylor, of course, who I think is the second best NFL player ever to Tom Brady. Greatest defensive players, LT, Reggie White, Aaron Donald. I think with his performance in the Super Bowl, in which I thought personally he should have won Super Bowl MVP, I thought he passed the great primetime Deion Sanders. No player in recent memory has been as dominant as this man has been. Aaron Donald, to me, absolutely is the best player in the National Football League. The best player in the best league. So before I get to your comments, I see I've got quite a few here. Before I get to them, let me rank them. Let me put down my list once again. Number 10, Aaron Rodgers. Number 9, Joe Burrow. Number 8, Josh Allen. Number 7, Derrick Henry. Number 6, Devonta Adams. Number 5, TJ Watt. Number 4, Cooper Kupp. Number 3, Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, Tom Brady. And number 1, Aaron Donald. That is my top 10 players currently in the NFL. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube. Be sure to click that big red subscribe button and go check out the other clips and full shows of Carving It Up Live. Have a blessed day.